Controversial opinion time? I really don't like the PvP reward system, and I've already given up with regards to getting the PvP mount this tier. But, and it's a big Nicki Minaj sized but, if you want the truth, this isn't some new fancy revelation to me. I was extremely, and I mean it, extremely eager and desperately wanted the Season 18 PvP reward armor set, in large part because I am sick of healer dresses. True, but more than that, I want a badass looking dark armor set. Really as basic as that. It's badass. Put that on my scholar and future sage and I'd be thrilled. Even better if they're like badass glowing red sage guns to go alongside it with like kind of dark details on them. It'd be really cool. There are going to be timestamps in the description if you want to skip ahead to some various part of the video, but I want to start by going into some case examples from other competitive games. We're talking about Overwatch, we're talking about League of Legends here. There are many other examples I could do, but I kind of want to trim down the video length to really the key hitting points. I am going to discuss later in the video though why I think it is important to reward excellence in gameplay, but I also do think that it comes at a steep cost, at least the current implementation in my opinion. First case example I'm going to go into is the Overwatch method, and for all of its many problems, Overwatch really has managed to make me insert myself into competitive gameplay a lot. In fact, if I look at my stats, it overwhelmingly dwarfs me going into quick play. I do competitive mode, and it's just like I have more competitive points, which is a currency that you earn through doing competitive gameplay, than I really care to spend, and I now struggle to find things to buy with them. So how's it structured is that you earn a set amount of competitive points for a win. 15 is how many you get for a win this current season, and 5 for a loss. So obviously you're getting 3 times more for a win, so it's definitely a way to motivate being good. Each season, depending on where you are rankings wise, such as Diamond, Gold, or Masters, you get a bonus set of competitive points. However, you are capped at holding a maximum of 6,000 competitive points, and so I've honestly kind of bought rewards I didn't think were that great because I already hit the cap, but assuming something like this would probably be viewed favorably by the Final Fantasy XIV developers, where we already know Poetic Tomestones were capped at 2k because the developers kind of want to prevent any tomfoolery or degeneracy with tomestones if they release some new reward. An example might be like in past relic steps that were released, you did use Poetic Tomestones to some degree. Actually, even for this relic for the first step. Next example that I want to bring up is League of Legends. For an extremely long time now in League of Legends, it has given you ranked reward skins to players that obtain the rank of gold or above. As you can see from the distribution of the rank, yeah, this is going to include a lot more than just the top 100 players. But on the flip side, that is likely to motivate more players since they don't really feel that it's out of reach. And I think that that is something that is always important to keep in mind when you're doing some kind of gamification. Actually, speaking of gamification, I need to keep this in mind for my website. It's very important to remember to not demotivate people from using whatever product it is, whether it's a website, whether it's an internal platform. Gamification definitely can be a double-edged sword. Such as for me, I remember when I was much younger striving to get the Victorious skins. Sadly, I quit before the Victorious Daddy skin came out. Holy shit, Big Daddy energy. But the point is that it was still pretty accessible for people, which I remember trying hard to get into gold for the skins. Now, if you told me that it was even diamond rank or above, we're not even talking top 100 here, diamond or above, I probably never would have even tried. I probably would have just quit 10 years ago for, say, Victorious Morgana. I would have been like, nope, that's too much. But one way to award other players for performing above and beyond, though, was different skin colors. They're called chromas in League of Legends, or through badges and skill icons. The 14 equivalent could be titles. I could go on, but I really did trim the fat of this section because these were the two that really inspired me the most. Now, getting into 14 again, what I personally love to see in terms of PvP reward structure is reward people who participate in PvP, because right now there's no denying that Final Fantasy XIV does have many different PvP modes with a lot of variety. Why not harness that strength? We have Rival Wings, where players use giant mechas in combat, which is very distinctly unique to 14. We have the Feast, that is a smaller scale competitive PvP mode. We have Frontline, which is a massive 24 versus 24 versus 24 alliance player battles on gigantic fields. We even do have 1v1 duels through the Wolf's Den. Although you could argue that that's not really flagship mode, it does exist. And so what I propose is a system where in order to purchase a PvP reward, you need to collect, say, 1,000 points of each of the 3 mainstay modes, Rival Wings, Feast, Frontlines. This would undeniably involve a level of skill and grind that would allow people to grind towards a respective goal. Say 15 points per win, 5 for a loss. There is no denying that skilled PvPers would be able to gain more rewards at a literally with those numbers 3 times faster pace, and hence be able to have a stronger purchasing power. Purchasing power could be very important for a system like this, where you could include in a PvP shop that could change each season, that you could have custom PvP minions, mounts, premium armor per tier that would cost, say, a significant amount of PvP points to obtain. Overwatch, for instance, costs 3,000 competitive points for a single golden weapon, and I don't think that that would be unreasonable in 14 to have something similar. Its titles would be awarded for ranks obtained per season and still allow the top players to strive for excellence. Also, if the season reward selection didn't appeal to players, they could carry over their rewards to the next season, not invalidating the grind, which could inspire a cap of maybe 2k or 3k competitive points per mode, so that people don't hoard like 10k competitive points or something crazy. And it really would depend, I guess, if you made the competitive armor cost like 3k. Otherwise, we'd probably stick with the normal 2k, because that seems to be every other limit for the most part. Why I say this is peace and love. I don't like the current PvP reward mount because I have Land Waffle, and this isn't even in the same category. I think it's very cool for people that like it, but not for me. However, if we're talking about rewards that I would do depraved things for, that would be the Season 18 PvP armor. But now I want to talk very anecdotally here about leaderboards. I might actually crack open some actual research literature here another day, but for now it's just my thoughts and very anecdotal. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that we've already seen the same top 100 leaderboard stuff with the Ishgardian Restoration project. We saw the top 100 get the Saint of the Firmament title, and that was honestly excessively competitive, where I know people who grinded non-stop who failed to get there, and it was pretty obscene. There's a lot of drama, a lot of craziness, and right or wrong, I'm not getting involved in any regard. I'm just saying there was drama, but in fact, I'd say that it made housing savage and standing at a placard spamming it seem kind of tame. But the fact is, if you weren't in the top 100, then you were given what I view as an insult to injury. I know it wasn't intended as this, but this is my perception, that you got the beta title. You got the beta of the Firmament title, and people might disagree with me and say that that's okay. And you know what, that's totally good. Like, disagree with me, I'm totally open with that. But for me personally, I struggle to think of anything I'd want less above my head than a title saying that I'm someone's beta. Y'all, if I'm taking part in something competitive and I get called someone's beta, I'm more likely than not to want to smash my monitor than continue to engage with whatever that was. Real tea, real shade. Fucking, I can't do that. There's only one man who can call me that, and that's the same derpy white mage that I've seen die to mechanics, and he loved me, he give me all his money, that Gucci Prada comfy, my sugar daddy, No one's gonna get that reference. But beyond that, and to be honest, I don't really care for the drama of like who is or who isn't, but there was a lot of talk about Wintrading, specifically in relation to the feast rewards, which ultimately, whether this is true or not true, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, whatever. But the fact is that there is the perception there, and whether we like it or not, perception often takes reins over the actual factual truth. Perception is very important. So this feeling, combined with the past feeling of like the Ishgardian Restoration, kind of forms a like ball of like, oh god. And that kind of takes us to the outro, where it's like, yeah, I really do find that the current system isn't appealing to me. I don't think that I am going to even take part in much more PvP outside of just having fun for fun's sake, because it's just like, to me, this is kind of unobtainable, and I think it would be very important to make things at least seem more obtainable, because right now, to me, I don't see myself possibly getting it, and it's just like the armor. I was so motivated for that, as I said at the start, like a sage or a scholar in that. I want that so bad. Fact is, there wasn't any hope of me getting it, if I'm quite frank.